Madam Recorder?
Yes, good morning. I'm short. Good morning, commissioners. Okay, I'm here today to ask for an approval. We're going to, and I don't know, Kelly has the old ordinance number, which I don't have. It's an amendment to a previous ordinance, ordinance number 1044. What is the basis on this? Is we have film that's sent out and we are being charged for our film that we store at the bank for printing. And so we now have to have our bulk users increase their pay, and I know you have to advertise it. So that's why I'm here for today, to get approval for that ordinance to increase the pay. Therefore, I can send out the new bulk user agreements for the new rate.
And the ordinance number 1044 is fine.
Okay. Yep.
We got everything.
Questions? Motion? Approve ordinance number 1044.
Second.
Any further discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say 3-0. It's not, this can be done all in one day.
Correct.
So,
Make a motion to suspend the second, third reading.
motion.
Sorry, rules.
Second. Okay, any discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
3-0. Is there a motion for second, third reading?
Just a question, permission.
Yes. We have to open this up for public comment. I'll make that motion for second, third reading.
I'll second.
Okay, any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Aaron said she was available anytime she got down from the 9 to 5 spot. down to the spot. So that moves Nikki up.
I like it.
Different Nikki.
She wasn't here to see it.
We can go to the
I'm
second.
actually
Nikki.
surprised she's not here.
So yeah, we'll go to the next Nikki. That.
Morning, commissioners.
Morning.
Wasn't expecting to be up here so soon. So I actually have some more information that I got as of last Friday afternoon on the first thing I'm going to be talking about. So I'll give you copies of that. Let's see. I just want to preface what I'm saying. In this first year, as I'm working with the budget that was given to me, I'm trying to fit it into what my goals are as I am working through my assessments of our network. And I'll just say that in the interest of transparency and communication, I might be here a little bit more often in the first year, so you know where I'm headed and my main focus is the security of our network. So what I'm working on right now is just needing a little bit of guidance in what I would like to do as far as our software that we use in the county for PDF documents. We all use PDFs every single day. Most of our users, actually all of our users, have the Acrobat Reader, Adobe Acrobat Reader on their computers. It's free, not a problem at all. We do have users in about 8 or more departments that have to make extensive modifications to PDF documents. And they have purchased usually Adobe software to do that. We do have about 3 to 4 different PDF software applications right now on our network that we're supporting in our department. And I am asking, or I'm looking at trying to figure out a better way to standardize our PDF software that we use for modifications. Right now, it was I've been working on it for about 2 months, trying to find who all in our county use it, and that's been a little bit of a challenge. Friday afternoon, I did receive a report from Corsica. It's still not exactly accurate. I know some people that are using it that are not in my report. So what I would like to do is, and I will say that Adobe Acrobat is now, as of July of this last year, requiring that we move to a subscription-based model. And that's typical in the industry right now. I think since early, let's say 2013 or so, a lot of software companies are moving to that so they can make money. So that's understandable. Departments have been told, just go out and purchase on your own what you need. I would like to move back to the IT department, a little bit more oversight in that, because I think we have more of an idea of what we're actually spending. And I think we can get some volume discounts and also some government discounts. So at the bottom of the memo that I sent you, I just picked a number because at that time I didn't really know how many people in the county that used the full version. So I picked the number of 40. You'll see there that there's an individual cost and the business cost per user, because I have no idea at that time who was using what. So some people were spending $240, $250 for the program. Some people are spending $288 per user. The program that I would like to use is fully featured, but it's a lot less money. It's a volume discount. And the only thing we would pay in recurring cost would be the support, which would give us all the new updates, support, security patches, which is what I'm most concerned about. Right now with report I have right now, it's all over the board. I've got packages that are back from 2017 and earlier, and it makes it impossible to keep it patched for security patches. So the second page that you have is more of a breakdown and my final proposal of what I'd like to do, whether it's this year or if I do it gradually over when I get my new budget. But what I am seeing there is that if I go ahead and do it this year, say at 30 users, the only, it would be the cost of like 2 computer systems that I would buy. And I can push that off to get into the year anyway, as I'm rolling out new computers. So I don't think there'll be a budget hit that I can see. So I just wanted to leave that with you and propose that we move in this direction to standardize. I have talked to the different departments. I have the court, Superior Court is using it right now as a standalone, the Power PDF program. They love it. I will be purchasing it for myself. I do not really like Adobe because all of the big box software companies I don't really like. So that's either here nor there. So anyway, that is my proposal right now, is asking the commissioners, are you okay if I go ahead and do that this year using this year's budget?
I like the way she seconded. Yes.
Second.
And are you okay if I go with the 30? That's right now where I'm thinking I'll land since I've gotten my newer numbers.
What's your opinion on that?
Unless you need to go to the 35 or whatever next week.
That's right now, I will finalize that. I would say not to exceed 45. Right now, so I'm looking at.
Ever seen higher than
Next thing I wanted to do is give you an update on our vaccine solution that we put into place. I think I came to you back in March about that. Our first round of numbers that we ported over for the vaccine went really well. We did have a few things that we had to modify, but it went pretty smoothly. The second round is actually due today, round one. The rest of the fax numbers will be ported over. That'll be the Sheriff's Department, 911, the courts, I think, Health Department, if I remember right. They're a little bit different because we have to do some more modifications, which is why after I'm done with this, I'm gonna scoot out of here and get back up before one. I did want to ask one thing, or give you an update on this. When I was working with Jeff Bassett at Business Impressions, our due diligence that we did in trying to look through how many faxes we were coming in and coming out, or going out, we estimated about 500 pages a month for the county. Turned out we have one department that receives a fax, a 200-page fax about once a month, which is kind of crazy. I'm looking for a better way for them to receive such a large number of pages per month that will be more secure. So, but we are going to up our pages per month. As we do that, the cost per page will go down. So it's still going to be under the amount that we would have paid in our old fax server. So I don't think that will be an issue. One thing we are requesting is to add one more fax number with community corrections. Because they use our county email, there's no additional setup fees or cost to that. Jeff has said just add them in. The only cost will be $20 to import the number. And I think Brett said he's familiar with Eagle Fax and how it works. And that one will actually save us money on our bill because it's an actual phone line. The others were part of a direct inward dial block that was free, so we didn't see cost savings there. But adding him will, in the memo I said, it will save us about $1,000 even getting that off our phone bill. So that's my proposal. I want you guys to look forward to when I thought these released for a while.
We have so far.
So that is my proposal to add the community corrections fax number. Good?
Yeah, good.
Okay. The other thing I think I have resolved, I'll just give you an update with Austin as our maintenance director. I'm working with him to do data drops that I've been requested for a couple of departments. They do have a need. I've assessed it, and he is helping me pull the cable. My team and I are really comfortable with terminating the cables and getting things set up. It is a big cost savings to the county. And I'm really happy to be able to do that for the county. That's my update.
Do you guys want a motion on that approval, or do you want that marked in the minutes that you guys gave verbal approval for the new numbers?
Say verbal's fine.
Okay.
She's not using funding that she doesn't already have in place.
Okay, thank you.
Good to keep.
Maybe. Good morning.
Goodies.
Fine.
Bear with me, I'm a little gimpy today. I yesterday thought I was still young and tried to play my daughter's parents versus kids volleyball game and should not have done that. So
Feel that?
a few extra minutes to get over here this morning. But yeah, so we're here. Some of this is still kind of new to me, but I know that you guys had a policy put in place January to comply with State Board of Accounts concerning use of credit cards and things like that. We're here requesting that our department be issued one. And essentially, obviously, we're not trying to create more work for Kelly and her group. My understanding right now of the process that if we want to use the credit card, we have to send over a form, get that approved, get that processed. Obviously, that takes time. Sometimes that's just inconvenient. Sometimes it can be very problematic depending on what we're in the middle of. And it's not uncommon for us to have several of those requests a month where we're going to be sending things over. We regularly have to attend CLEs and things like that as attorneys, so we're having to book hotel rooms and things of that nature if we have to travel to Indianapolis or further for overnight CLEs, stuff like that. So obviously, it'd be way more convenient to be able to just book those and then have the claim process once a month rather than send over multiple claims throughout the month to make those requests. Additionally, there are other things that we do throughout the year. Sometimes, maybe not every month, but we're pretty regularly using our pretrial diversion money to support law enforcement. They come to us with requests, and if there's things that we feel like can be of benefit to those agencies, we'll use that money for those types of purposes. So that would be another thing, being able to just get that to them quickly. I would say honestly, the biggest thing that the real need for this is when we're in the thick of a trial. It's not uncommon. We've had, honestly, in the last, I would say, in December, I think, we did the murder trial, or maybe at the end of November, murder trial in November. I did a child molest in January and a rape in February. And for all those cases, we're in here after hours, we're in here on the weekends, prepping. Sometimes we go to get the technology that we think we need. It's not working or it's not there. So it's having the ability to go after hours when you guys aren't around to go and get the stuff that we need without having to wait and get a form sent, form processed, allows us to more effectively prepare for those types of cases and those types of situations. So realistically, that is the single biggest, and that happens more often than we'd like it to anymore, unfortunately. So that's kind of the need for it. You guys have any questions about any of that? Like I said, our intention is not to certainly put more work on Kelly, but ideally, I think if we're getting a claim process once a month, at the end of the day, maybe that's going to be less work than submitting multiple request forms for them throughout the month.
But we put this policy together just for this purpose. And you worked on that for a long time.
Yeah, we did.
Assume that the policy is helpful to you.
It is very helpful. We discussed this a lot. Nikki and I talked about it. I talked about it with Anna and Amy in there. We do have two departments that have their own cards. They have had their own cards forever. I don't even know how long, couldn't find it. And they get their stuff turned in on time. Because the credit cards all have to be paid out of cycle. As soon as we get them, they get paid as soon as they're here. If we don't have receipts, then we have to go looking for them. If tax or anything shows up on there, then we have to figure out why. So we are really, really dependent on those departments that do have their own credit card to make sure that everything is here on time and we don't have to go looking for anything. Because if not, it's going to be that department's responsibility. They've already late fees, taxes, that sort of thing. If you guys want to give another department, you may. I really don't want it to go countywide because I'm afraid we'll have a nightmare. But
And one other thing I would add that I kind of didn't touch on is kind of along the trial prep stuff, especially in that murder trial. We did have to fly one witness in from out of state. Those types of things, having to book hotels, book flights, get that person from the airport here, those types of things. Those are all things that we have to do. And sometimes it's not stuff that we can really take time to wait on, things to get processed. And I can appreciate Kelly's position. Again, we're not trying to rock the boat. And if the biggest concern is making sure things get processed timely and get to her office timely, Nikki is fantastic at what she does, and I have absolutely no concerns about her being able to comply with that.
can I ask that should you guys decide to go in that direction and approve that, that it also be with the stipulation that if we do have something come up, that it can be revoked as well? Would,
Well, it always can be revoked, yeah. The commissioners have the authority to revoke it.
I don't have any intention to do anything that would revoke it, but obviously that's your.
I know, but I still have to, I have to
I
put
get
it
it.
out there.
There's your confirmation that we can.
Thank you.
I guess my question would be what's the process now? You come get one of our credit cards and do you keep it during the whole trial then? Or do you just have every individual need?
Sometimes the courts come and get them and they keep them during the whole trial.
Ours would be prior to the trial.
Right.
In the past, I was texting the two of you approval to buy Uber gift card, airfare, hotel, that kind of stuff. And then following up with the auditor's office, doing the paperwork that we have verbal approval. It went on the next agenda. And with the new policy in place, that ties my hands a lot to have to sit and wait and send paperwork over, get approval back, book it, send more paperwork over, do the credit card authorization form, and then do the claim. Like, it's a lot of paperwork, where before I would text you guys, get verbal approval, get it done. And prior to that, hotel reservations for all of our attorneys was just literally do it and send the paperwork over. So how we ran our office before and how we run it now is a lot different. And I understand that the policy has to be in place. I completely understand why State Board of Accounts needs that there. But it's really tying our hands as to how efficient our office can be now.
I guess my question would be, with issuance of a credit card, does that still stay in compliance with State Board of Accounts, Billy?
We have the other two departments.
Yeah.
They're still within, so I would say yes.
All comes down to reporting.
Huh?
It all comes down to reporting.
It does.
Yeah.
Yep.
There will be a small learning curve, I'm sure.
Limited by the budget anyway, so.
It should be. So everything would be a budget item.
Motion.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify with aye.
Thank you guys. Thank you.
Nikki, I'll be able to fill the information on that later. Oh, it's vote on that. I'm sorry.
3-0.
Jason, good morning.
Good morning. So mine's a simple request from you guys. The LAPC is requesting the use of the side-by-side from the surveyor's office. It'll be on May 12th during our functional skill training that we're doing throughout the county. We held at Prairie High School on the farm. We'll be traveling between the school and the farm. The vehicle will just be an added bonus to us to be able to transport back and forth, make sure all of our personnel are safe when we're on the scene.
We don't know. I confirmed the ability to use this through surveyor's office.
I confirmed with Greg, he said I needed to reach out to you guys because it's a county-owned vehicle, county-owned, commissioner-owned vehicle with insurance. He said perfect, it's sitting out in the barn, you would have no issues with it.
You're just gonna hook up.
Hook up the day off, bring it, take it out the day off. I probably won't take back on the next day because we won't go ahead until 9 o'clock, but it'll be with me in the vehicle. The county-owned.
Bruce?
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify with aye.
Aye. Thank you very much. They are.
Yeah. Get the, I don't know if you ready to talk, but that's the way we look back.
I do this myself once, so I wanted to make sure. Do have some information if I could provide this to you guys. So it's my understanding that I'm speaking on the commissioner, to the commissioners, as they're considering maybe some alternative collection measures with regards to currently we are handling the collections for the EMS. And there's a consideration that the EMS collections be turned over to an agency that essentially puts it into a system and gets a Indiana tax refund if the recipient is going to receive that. So I came here to discuss kind of what we believe is the important process of collections, not having one approach in getting the county collected, but obviously through other measures that our office can provide. So my understanding is the firm that you're considering is essentially going to put the collection measures into a system. And then ultimately at tax season time, if they receive a state Indiana tax refund, then that would be intercepted and paid on the EMS bill. Now, there is some policies where an individual can challenge that. And again, that would require, I think, representation for the local county. If they do challenge that, they intercept. Our office provides that legal representation throughout the entire process. We've just passed tax season time, meaning that if you do elect to go that route, you'd have to wait a year essentially to start collecting. And so there's definitely some benefits for using our firm versus just a one-stop shop in that. And so I provided the county commissioners kind of with the pros and cons with regards to that. We believe we are the right approach for the county to have higher success and long-term security. Enforcement capabilities. We have the Indiana income tax refund. However, we have that option as well. Right now, we've already secured rid of attachments for not only the federal and state tax returns. So we get the federal and state tax return. The only benefit to the I guess proposal is that they would be able to intercept it directly, where the recipient or the debtor continues to get that tax refund, and then they have to turn it over to the court or pay it directly to our office. Right now, we're in the process of filing many contempt motions because people haven't reached out to us and said they didn't file, receive a tax refund. So we have those measures. We can also do wage garnishments. Wage garnishments are probably our most beneficial process for our clients. And we can do that today, tomorrow, the next day. We don't have to wait. And again, those matters are up to 25% of their net disposable income. So again, once we obtain a judgment, 8% interest accrues on that. So the county is making money on that versus just waiting that year to get those. We can do bank garnishments as well. Also, a lot of times with EMS, we're dealing with older individuals. Then things happen, estates are open. And again, once an estate is open, you wouldn't have any recourse in that collections because they're not obviously going to file a income tax refund. And there is requirements to file within 9 months of an estate being open or within 3 months of publication. So waiting that 3 months to find out there's no tax refund could end up missing a deadline if you go with that agency. Filing claims in bankruptcy, same thing. If they do file bankruptcies and the county EMS bill is there, we do file the appropriate claim to see if we get paid. A lot of times, pennies on the dollar, but at least those pennies are coming back to the county. Also, sometimes they live out of state, so we're not even involved in the state income tax refund. So if with our lakes and our population increasing, and if the EMS is called, you're not going to hit that Indiana tax refund. We've talked about year-round collection, so income coming into the county on a regular basis versus just one time with regards to that.
we also engage in skip tracing software so we can locate people who move. So again, they may be living here at the time of services, but if they move, again, those accounts would be going uncollected with regards to that. We believe we can negotiate settlements. We can get your money back sooner. We can collect interest on that. And so right now, I think we've been doing a great job working with EMS, turning over accounts, finding if there's insurance there. But ultimately, the EMS is doing a good job of trying to reach out prior to it being turned over to try to get collected before it gets turned over to us. We also give them essentially 2 opportunities to pay before we file lawsuits. And so I think that's a good measure because one, the courts like to see that the county's making an effort to resolve this without litigation. You have no out-of-pocket costs for court costs. Those get added on with regards to that. So everything seems to be a win-win. We believe that for the county's benefit, having a collection firm, whether it's ours or anybody else, is just going to be more successful than one-time obtaining the state refunds. And so we just asked the court ask the commissioners. So I just came from court. As commissioners, just consider that with regards to the. Any questions?
Well, let's hope when you get back to court, you don't refer to them as commissioners.
Very much so.
Start with that. I just changed you on that.
Yeah.
No, I think the purpose we were looking at this, most of all, was just to have an opportunity for it to have another tool, not necessarily for EMS in particular, but for the other departments that have an opportunity to collect otherwise.
Sure. And we do have that same opportunity. So again, we are getting not only state writ of attachments from the judge, but also federal, and understand that, you look at your tax refunds and you look at individuals, that federal one is quite larger than the state. Usually the state's a lot smaller. So a lot of times they won't even be satisfied. I think to be honest, the only benefit to them is they get to intercept it versus it coming to someone else. And we have mechanisms to enforce it, but yes.
Yeah, it was my understanding that this is more secondary, or that everything Jonathan or trust law was doing for the EMS was, yes, I was thinking work, this is more just the secondary for other departments.
What's another option?
Okay.
Or I think they could use it,
They could use it, but it's not the intention to use it.
or the primary, yeah.
Fair enough.
And the results I think we've been getting from your firm seem to be solid, yeah.
I appreciate your time, Ben. Any other questions? All right,
Thank you.
thank you.
Get back.
I'm here, I'm prepared to speak very little. So we had a vacation hearing on April 2nd, went through the 9-0 positive recommendation. I brought it in front of this board 2 weeks ago. Got some questions for the, you were gone for a minute, freaking out.
Very short window to go back.
You had some questions to follow up with the landowner representative, so we have that here for you today. So if you like, I'm just gonna turn it over. Is that fine?
Yes, that's.
I've been communicating with Mr. Kmeyer.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna move into the.
Okay.
I just wanted to, I've got a email from Randy Kmeyer's attorney representing them at the Hawk meeting. And basically that his clients will commit vacating, upon vacating the short of the portion of the alley, they'll demolish the existing garage and then rebuild it. And once the rebuilding is completed, they will provide a formal access to the easement for the benefit of the cornfields, which is lot 23, which is the one that potentially could be landlocked if this goes through. So I have a written commitment. The paperwork will follow once they get gotta build the garage for, they gotta, I suppose where they're gonna locate the garage on the easement is still a question. So if it's vacated. But they will provide easement access to the cornfield. And they have, just so you know, they have other. Well, I'll just say that there's a couple ways they could go to provide that access, but they will have the space to provide the access to the cornfields if you vacate these. So, my goal is to get something in writing from them or their representative that they will proceed. Our job will be to monitor to make sure it gets done in a timely way. So,
Okay. I think we're all in agreement that for lack of a better term, it's the hot mess in that area. So,
That's my.
definitely. So, I think, the importance is that everybody is, I guess, going to be served for.
and I have said, are the cornfields, they're involved in all this.
Yeah.
So it's not that what they're gonna do is they're gonna take down this garage here, gonna relocate it.
Where?
Well, it's so confusing from the survey. I'm happy to have you, Mr. Stuckey, explain it. It might actually be even easier.
Sure.
So the garage extends from here. Well, this is not as easy to understand as this. Okay. Here's the garage. The dark gray is the garage. And you'll see that black box is this black box. So this part of the garage is out of compliance. So that's part of the vacation.
This back in here.
The way he drew this, he drew that as in compliance, but what it really is this part is out of compliance. This part is in compliance. Okay? And then here's their easement. Or the easement. So
Which is where their stairs are right now.
which is, stairs or a ramp. I have photos if it helps. So the easement is not being touched.
Ramps on this side.
When we moved in, they had big pipes blocking the stairs. We removed those stairs on this side. They had a tiny little path. It might just help if I show you because of how crazy it is. So here's the path that they use. Now we told them, please use the stairs, and we had to remove this bar.
So this side of the garage, is that the side you're saying is
That's-
out of compliance?
That's the easement side, and that's not being touched. Which the other side of the garage. Okay, so here, this side of the garage is the easement, the ramp. We're also not touching these individuals that built a driveway.
Yep.
But it's this side of the garage over here that's out of compliance.
Not this side.
It's this side that's out of compliance, not this side next to you.
Because the alley or the existing alleyway goes
It goes, yep.
All the way through.
all the way through. So the backside of that garage right now is not encroaching on the easement.
It could be
Between the houses.
barely the way you see these lines drawn.
This shows it isn't.
It isn't, right? So,
It is encroaching.
I tried to take some photos to give you an idea of how so I'll just show the commissioners. I'm so sorry I didn't have a second. That is like the end of the alley, like blocking them, so they can't get through. There's these large trees. So
So you're saying this part of it here is out of compliance.
that's the part out of compliance.
So the ramp that they built,
That won't be touched.
so you would open this back up
We'd have
and
to
you
talk.
still have this?
No, so we're asking to vacate this part too, so that we
But
can.
that's the only access you have to this and to get the equipment to your property.
Well, so what we'd like to do is this is what we'd like to be the driveway. We'd like to convert this to a driveway. And we're committed to expanding the easement so that they have access into their property through the driveway. So that's the goal. Now, there's a couple of complicated, I think during the planning commission or the planning meeting, Commissioner Laughlin was there was a sort of question about, well, can you do this
could we do contingencies, but they have a parking easement per deed that actually, if we convert this to a driveway, blocks the driveway.
Right, where it says no parking?
Exactly. But what's really odd, so that goes to Cornfield Wild. I'm not even sure Cornfield Wilds know how they got it, but it actually sets up in front of Andre's parking. So without getting too deep, unless you're interested in it, the history of it is apparently the people that owned our place and the people that owned Cornfield Wilds were in incredible like property wars. And Andre's kind of stayed out of it. Cornfield Wild and my grandparents, our grandparents had properties on First Basin. So we've known them since we were little kids. And when they bought it and then we bought it, we committed to sort of like solving this war that had apparently lasted. And for us, the advantage of, I'll go back to the microphone, for us, the advantage is that we would like to flip the garage. So instead of pulling up into the street and driving in, we go down a driveway and we park underneath. That has the advantage of just being closer to our house. It benefits the entire area in that like essentially everybody's parking on what is a privately maintained public street though. So you got Cornfield Wild with an easement per deed and they're blocking Andre's access to their property with that. We have to pull out of our garage. So we can't have anybody actually blocking us that way. So if we think if we can get the garage in compliance, we could flip it. We need a driveway to get underneath rather than pull in. That same driveway would provide access to Cornfield Wild. They would then dissolve their easement per deed for the parking. So now Andres has access to their property. They always have access, but they have full parking. And then the plan would essentially to be, get a builder out, propose something with the garage, again, flipping it, and then resurvey it such that we could expand the easement so they have access. And they have been supportive. I mean, they're like, well, I'll just say they're very supportive because prior to us owning it, the previous owners were like, I mean, it was so toxic. The previous owners were like, we're not even going to work with you as new owners because they're so mad at the people that own this. So like, I think Cornfield and Wild have been supportive in the sense that they know they don't want to park up on the street. They want to park on their property. They recognize the only way through it is that easement, but the easement isn't going anywhere as part of this anyways. The next step would be to expand it based on a builder and a surveyor.
So basically they park
Yeah,
and then walk.
they
Yes.
park and walk. And it's honestly like, I mean, it's
Right now, the only way that you can access even any equipment to these properties is down this ramp, through this easement.
Yeah, so they actually can't get, the alley is actually inaccessible from the north, from that driveway for a couple of reasons. The way that our neighbors to the north built the driveway, the slope is steep. And so what they then did is they put these like sort of cement blocks to create a stair. So you can't get a vehicle down. Now you can walk, you walk down them. There's a tree that is about probably 5 feet in diameter and a rock that's as big as this in the middle of the alley. Plus, when you go south towards Cornfield Wilds, there's these shrubs that have been there probably 50 years. So there actually isn't, they can't go from the north even if they want to, and they definitely can't get there with a truck. So when they had their roof fixed, I think a year ago or maybe 2 years ago, we just said, well, you gotta drive through our property. There's no, I mean, the roofers, there's no way they could get down that photo I showed you of that little dinky little ramp thing.
I know the property.
Yeah, so, yeah, probably from the wells or I don't know. Anyways, so,
That's why
yeah,
I'm really concerned about vacating anything in here until there's definite plans, that everybody's in agreement that you can build a ramp on this site to even access these properties. Because we could vacate this ramp and who's to say that that's gonna continue?
Which
Then we
part?
just, if we vacate your request,
Yeah,
there's still not anything in writing or plans right now that is gonna happen. Essentially, they are landlocked.
well, so they can still come down this easement and step into the alley. And our commitment is not only to obviously expand the easement, so they still have that access. It really truly doesn't change. I feel bad for them, for their property, and
This is gonna remain.
Right.
This alley doesn't go clear through.
It goes clear through, but this part will remain.
right
So they still have access
through this alley.
through the alley to their property from, and this doesn't show there's space in here, little space in here to go, to walk down from the
Yeah,
park.
they're old,
Uh,
they're old steps.
Yeah.
And they're,
They still have access like they currently have
Right.
to the property, which is to park and walk.
Right. Their access won't change at all right now. But it does give us the opportunity to get the garage in compliance, to get a builder out, to get us a resurvey done, to think about, okay, can we flip this garage? And then, so if I died tomorrow and they died tomorrow, the new owner's access would be no different than it is now. But we definitely have the commitment, and Mr. Kmart provided it to Mr. Stuckey to work with them to do that. And that is, yeah.
Can it all be drawn up ahead of time and signed?
Well, they don't know that, they don't have the survey yet. So they won't, or they couldn't have this survey yet until they get the builder out there to relocate the garage and find out what they can and can't do. So,
And I want to at least be able to tell the builder, well, before we even get to the builder, combine what would be 3 parcels into one, so that I can say to the builder, okay, here's the boundaries of the property. I think my wife and I originally, when we started this thought process, maybe 1.5 years ago, we thought we would just have the garage in the same spot. If we could get the part that's out of compliance in compliance, we would just rebuild the garage and then flip it from the cars on the top to the cars on the bottom. But upon going through the whole process, we realized by vacating the alley, we actually have the ability to shrink the garage north to south and move it east to west. So you'd have basically the same size, but you wouldn't have to have it in that exact location. So there's a range of potential options for, we haven't talked to a builder because we don't have the alley in our possession to say to them, yes, here's what we could potentially do. But that would be the plan.
You know why I brought it up, Kenny's Landing, and I didn't want another one
Yeah.
to happen.
yeah, well, that's totally different in the sense that result would be the same potentially, but if that had been followed up by the previous plan department, that had never been an issue. It just never got taken care of. That's why I said it's our obligation, plan department's obligation to assure that this gets resolved appropriately within a certain period of time.
Yeah, there's other elements to this. Like, so the thing is, Cornfeld and Wilds and us are in agreement with this plan. Andres could actually be a part of the plan too if they want. They're for, I think they're like 2 sets of siblings that are cousins that own it, and 2 of them live in California and never come. And so Cornfeld and Wilds and us are even interested in saying to them, hey, this is our plan. It doesn't have to involve you. Would you like to be involved if they would like to be involved too? So I don't know whether they'll go for that because it's complicated when these lake houses are owned by 4 people and 2, but Andres would benefit regardless because we would remove all these cars that are now sort of like parking on this hill, and they would get access back to their property, which somehow was taken away with Cornfeld Wilds parking. So.
I like what you're thinking and doing, but I'd really like to see more on paper before we approve this vacation.
I don't know where you're going to get.
I know, I honestly, I understand. Yeah,
I don't think they can give you any more.
I know.
My conversations with, or email conversation with the Kmart. I don't, the alternative, it's a mess. And it's not going to get any worse if you vacate the easement.
Yeah,
It may get better. That's my assessment.
I think that's the summary statement, and I recognize the position the commissioner's in. My wife and I do. Like, in some ways, like we feel the same way. We feel like we have these neighbors that are telling us that they want to work with us, and we're kind of trusting them, and they're kind of trusting us. And I do think, as you said, it can't get any worse. It may get better. I guess that's the final plea, is that to trust us. We're trying our hardest to solve something that's, I think, sounds like a neighbor war that went on for 60 years.
I don't think the cornfields are going to give up their parking easement until they get an alternative easement.
Right.
They don't give up their parking easement. They still have the same access that they have today. They give up their parking easement and they have nowhere to park and no way to get to their property.
Right.
But
Is that on their deed?
Huh?
Is that on their deed? Because I didn't see that.
It says easement per deed, and there's a number.
they probably have a prescriptive easement. No matter
Yeah,
what.
I think I left it up here. It's,
Question, if this goes through, have to issue a permit to the vice board that matches the setbacks.
This was a little bit bigger than what I'm looking at.
I know.
So tie it to some kind of, can be tied to something.
Well, if the ordinance goes through and they present, you have the same requirements. If they need a variance, they're still
But I'm
gonna.
saying regardless of the neighbors agreeing, if this all doesn't get resolved, once this goes through and they apply for a permit, we have to issue it based upon if they meet setbacks, right? Regardless of all the neighbors can have
A permit for what?
the garage. Again, I'm hypotheticaling, but that's my concern. If you
Well-
walk away from here, I write the permit because I feel I have to, and then the neighbors are mad, then we're back in. I don't want to be back here.
Well,
On the ugly
I
end
think
of
they
it.
have to comply with the permit, every permit requirement,
Well, yeah.
no matter what.
and that easement, remember that easement isn't going anywhere, so we can't just say, oh, well, thank you, commissioners, let us move the garage onto the easement. We still are stuck with that
What
easement.
they're vacating isn't gonna affect their current access to the property.
That's what we make sure we don't issue a permit error based upon something that's supposed to be done.
At least that was my analysis of, it may get better. It can't get any worse because they have to park and walk to their property now.
I think in the deed, they are still be allowed that opportunity.
Well, they have an easement to park, parking easement, and they still have access just like they currently do.
Is there any reason there can't be a development plan put together and drawn up with all the proper documentation?
It is just a plan. So if it changes, there's not much you can do about it, but, yeah, I mean, it could be, but it's not gonna, if it changes, there's no remedy really to, it is just a plan, so.
I'd like to, we would do it if that was the only option. I feel like I'd like to be able to go to a builder and say, here's the space with Cornfeld and Wild. This is how they need access to their place using this easement. And I'd like to see what that comes out to be. I can imagine multiple options. And I also, again, I think we should also ask Andres, you guys want to be a part of expanding it? The part that we're not vacating, do you want to try and vacate that portion for improved access as part of this driveway to your property? I mean, there's so many moving parts with up in the air about it that, again, if all falls through, it can't get worse, but at least us and Cornfeld can work together to solve a problem. But I don't feel like we can do it without being able to say to a builder, here's this garage, we're in compliance, we can flip it, we want to do this, what are our options for doing that? Getting our cars off of the street underneath. we tried to work through a list of plans that we could come up with, but there just were too many different variables to be certain. Like step one was vacate this. Step two, talk to the builder about possibilities. Step three, discuss with Cornfield Wild expansion of the easement and their resolution, they're dissolving their parking spot, so that then the next step would be the one where there'd be this sort of comprehensive agreement. Okay, we're gonna build this garage, we're gonna expand the easement, you're gonna dissolve your parking deed easement, because if that doesn't dissolve, then it would block the driveway. So that was in our mind, like why this was sort of the most critical first step before then we could move forward with Cornfield Wild. I'd call them right now. They're probably at work. I don't, you
I
know.
guess I have a question either Don or Clint can answer. That, so you have a subdivision that's been developed with specific lot lines, specific roadways, specific alleyways. If you want to change that, what's the process?
The vacation or the replat. In this case, I think a lot of what we're talking about is we're erasing the platted easement that was put there by the plan commission or however the process happened, whenever this was created. But then you have a lot of these private deeded things that wouldn't show up on a plat. Therefore, we can't really vacate those. It would have to be done privately. So I think you've got a mixture of those. So we're only focused on the one that's actually a platted easement that they're trying to get rid of. If that makes any sense. But I believe like.
You mean a platted alley.
Platted alley,
Not a
yeah,
platted
right,
easement.
right. So like the parking spots you're talking about, those are just privately deeded. Those aren't showing up on the plats. Right?
Platted alley is.
The Cornfield Wild, I'm sorry, maybe it's my ignorance with the legal stuff. The Cornfield Wild parking easement per deed has a document number that you can look up at the state of Indiana. So I don't know how that came about. That, again, that is not having anything to do with us, and we recognize that people feel very sensitive about that. And they feel sensitive about it because I think they're like, we bought the property and we were told this is our spot. And again, everybody's now at the point where we're like, okay, we can all work together. So I don't quite know if that's the county or that's private, but okay, but from their perspective, they don't want that because what they really want is a driveway to their property. And they're willing to say, if we can come to an agreement about a driveway we want, then we'll get rid of that parking spot, opening things up for Andres and honestly, the rest of the people up there as well.
In court, they did attest to that at the planning meeting.
Yeah.
So, Cornfield, what's that?
Cornfield?
Yes. So everybody was there and was in agreement.
Andre's there?
Andres were not there. But,
Yeah. Two of them live in California, one's in Pennsylvania. I've actually only met two of them and I don't know where the fourth one is.
Stuff from Cornfield?
No, and Andres are not essential to
yeah,
do what
that's,
they
it
have to
doesn't really
do.
affect.
But it would make it, that'd be better for them if they participated in the process, but it doesn't benefit the cornfields or, how do you pronounce it?
Prohaska, but everyone says Prochaska, so you feel free to say whatever.
Or the other property owner. So,
Yeah.
We gotta make it, we gotta,
Sorry, I apologize for it.
either we're gonna do it or we're not.
Yeah, you did.
Okay.
Danny is getting a little copy of those deeds that has that parking easement on it for us.
If they don't give up that parking easement, then we can do the.
And we can't get, right, then we can't even get out of the driveway. But again, they're okay with that, and obviously so are we. I mean, we wouldn't build a driveway if they weren't willing to give up the parking. Then they would just park and block the driveway, but it's obvious that they want to park down below, we want to park down below. And Andres would definitely benefit from all of our cars being out of what is really the access and their parking spots to their property.
So first reading was held on what date, Calvin?
2 weeks ago.
Yeah, a lot of questions.
I will make a motion to approve second, third reading.
So your legal opinion to this board of commissioners that you believe it would improve the situation, not make it decline.
I'd say it has the potential for substantial improvement. And there's no downside because if they don't give up their easement, it ain't going anywhere. Their parking easement ain't going anywhere. So it can't get in, like I said, it can't get any worse. It has the potential for getting better. And I've dealt with Mr. Kmeyer before. I mean, he doesn't, he's an honorable guy and he's made a written representation that I have here. And I feel comfortable with that.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, the same.
Aye.
I just want to thank the commissioners. I recognize the difficulty. I also want to publicly thank Clint and Charlie because they don't get paid enough to resolve all of these issues. I don't even know what they get paid, but it's certainly not enough to resolve all of these issues.
Wish you well.
Thank you. I appreciate it, really. I appreciate the.
Don, can you keep us abreast of all those ongoings with that?
I would advise the gentleman that any problem you're going to have in the future as far as the commissioner is concerned is that this doesn't get done and done timely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yes. Well, I appreciate that. And we're committed to it. So thank you to the commissioners. Thank you, Mr. Stuckey. You want me to take those papers or you just throw them away on those surveys or you want to keep it or?
This year?
I can take them and throw it. I think it was mine, but I'm happy to leave it. Okay. Thank you, guys.
Can you state the next one?
Appreciate it. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Can we get a copy of?
Can you stay for the next 5 minutes?
Yeah.
Actually, I think that one folder was mine.
I don't.
Hold on.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Rick, what do you need?
Folder copy's mine.
Oh, you want the full copy? Yeah.
I think
Does anybody want that?
If you're just kind of throwing away, I'll take it. It's easier for my,
Yeah. And I have
That
one
meeting.
more. This one is not great because it's regular size.
I
But
have it.
yes, okay. We're good. Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Good luck.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you for what there is. Looked at it.
You wonder how that ever got done.
Yeah, I just got it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Just a lot of years of nobody cares.
Okay, we're gonna bypass there and go right to the sheriff. That's okay.
Good morning, Commissioners. Auditor and. Hopefully I'll be a little quicker for you. Probably not. Good for a good talk.
All right.
The first invoice I have there from the white invoice for the 911 towers and HVAC repair coming out of the tower fund, repair fund, 1222.
I'll move to approve.
Any further? Hearing none, all in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
We go to number 3. Skip number 2, that'll be a discussion. Okay. Number 3, I've got there's a Keesler Police Supply quote invoice for firearm sights and tactical holsters. Last year, we replaced all of the sidearms for the agency. They were 10 years old or plus in some cases. So we got new ones that will now allow us to acquire a different sight. It's more of an electronic sight. Pretty big push around for these newer sites. So, and wanting to change sight, we have to have a different holster. That's why there's new holsters on there as well. That's just for the patrol side. I will not be switching the confinement side over to these. It'll just be, it's more of a tactical use on those. I do have the funds in the firearms fund. I think we appropriated 27 for a total this year. So there's plenty of funds in there. I have not done anything with that firearms fund since I came in 19. I've been very vigilant knowing that we would have to change out sidearms and do these particular changes. So we're in step 2 here of changing over those sidearms. Looking for approval for that, please.
Any further? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by aye.
Invoice 4, category 4 is phasers. Those are the taser, the electronic. We buy those supplies. Those are for road carry and training cartridges. Those are 2 years. We purchase them for a 2-year stock.
I think Rick and Andy wanted to be involved. in this.
Yeah, well, yeah,
Yes.
thank you.
I
Yeah.
better get low.
Yeah, there you go. They'll charge you. Yeah, that comes out of the same fund as well, though. So I'm looking for approval to purchase those 2 years of supplies.
Like that motion, as long as Will's the first.
Second.
Duly noted.
You think I'm gonna vote for that? All in favor, signify by aye.
You did.
So the second one there is the Williams Electronics quote for the annual software maintenance for the Pro Watch door access. Those are our cards and fobs. Those are the ones that the dispatch center has been tasked with for years in controlling programming. The auditor may have some input here. When council moved my funding from 22 and created 1235, we weren't exactly brought up to speed on how we were supposed to use our funds in different manners and ways. It was after the budget cycle, so I couldn't budget for particular things. I'm limited in the use of the 1222 fund and also 35. I've met with the auditor here in the last week to try and see if we can't remedy something. But are we still in the situation where we're good?
So
Okay, I'm sorry to jump to her.
that's
No,
okay.
You're fine.
That's okay.
That's where I would have went.
Yeah,
1235.
Yeah.
Can be used for anything. So you
Okay.
can use Fund 1235 for this if you want to. I know you guys weren't sure where you wanted to take it out of. I didn't know how many buildings this affected and which ones.
everything but the community center.
Everything but the community center?
Yeah.
Okay. So 1235 can be used for this.
Okay, is there a suggestion as to which, or does it matter? Let us figure it out and we'll get it.
I'd use 1235.
It's 1235. Go for it.
That's my
Okay,
suggestion.
all right. In regards to that, I guess I'll resubmit. My concern is in June, they want to attach a late fee to us, so we need to pay it prior, but we will have
Pay it
another
on
meeting.
cycle.
We'll pay it out of cycle.
I'll pay, yeah, I'll have that on a cycle, I'll make a note of that.
So is it possible for me to ask for approval to spend out of my 1235 account this particular thing today to get approval?
You have
Okay.
a rough idea of the
Yeah, it should be attached there. I think
the second part of it.
yeah, it's the
24.
$2,473.24. And it's noted on there, if we don't pay just in 90 days, an additional $1,225 will be attached. So that was my concern getting in here.
We'll do it. Like I said, I'll put it on cycle, we'll get it paid right away.
Okay. Thank you very much, Auditor.
You're welcome. And then I have some more things about that.
Okay,
We can go in later
wonderful.
about the 1235
Thank you.
fund. Yep.
Make that motion.
Sorry.
Pay it right away.
Thank you.
Further. Hearing none, all in favor, signify by aye.
Aye.
Like that.
Thank you all. And thank you, Kelly, for working along with us there on that.
You're welcome.
Kind of ran into that one blind.
Hey, Sheriff, real quick.
Yep.
Because this came in as a quote, do we have the invoice?
Is Beth
Oh,
too?
I do not, I'm sure, I'm assuming that's just how.
Still don't know, I will
change.
Okay, if not, I'll call the
Actually,
sister.
follow up on
Just let me know.
You just say,
I have
if she doesn't show up, can you follow up on that?
Just like an RV outside of an RV park. Is that what I'm getting?
Kidney Landing, RV, she filed a formal complaint, like Charlie was gonna pull it up.
Last I heard, we sent them a letter and they left. And they obviously came back.
They'll follow up, if they came back.
It's on wheels. That happens a lot of times. Yeah, we can follow up on that, though, definitely.
Okay, I'm sorry, what was your decision on this one?
We're gonna refer that to building and planning department. Brett, good morning.
I'm here for two different things. The first one is that purchase agreement. Does that form looks all right?
Okay, was it okay with Chip? Chip's okay with you buying everything out there again? Okay.
He verbally told me that this agreement looked okay.
Okay.
The form.
Okay.
Nothing's filled out, so.
Yeah, we're just looking for approval of the form of it. Is okay by you guys?
The simplest. Any further? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by aye. Any further accepted?
Okay. The other thing is, I talked with Nikki and I saw she was on the agenda earlier today. About fax, different stuff. We have a fax line and she wanted to,
It was approved.
it was,
Yep.
thank you.
Okay, you're all set. Get fancy facts now, Bill.
Yeah, we've got that in the Grange through a different vendor though. Where we get our phones. Yeah, much cheaper.
Yeah, looks like it.
All right. Thank you. Thank you.
Chip took off around.
So,
The whole big scene.
We can stay ready for him if you want to go. Those areas, okay.
You back okay?
Yep.
Back.
Yeah, I'm ready to
Back.
He's back.
I'm back. My back's okay. On some poor boy staying in the parking lot, though. Is it hey, busy? No, huh? Come on.
Good job.
All right, updates. I don't have a ton of them. Kind of like today. Planning on starting small structure number 7, June 2nd. That's our planned closure date for small structure 7. I'm on Caguan 700 South and 500 West. I got the contract back for community crossings matching grant 2025-1 with Bruce Construction. If I can get a signature and approval.
Approve the road construction contract with
Brooks Construction.
For some reason, it was just bypassing me.
Need a motion on that?
Please.
Make that motion. Second.
Further. Hearing none, all in favor, signify by aye.
Thank you. Get that signed, I can get turned into the handout. Our guardrail spraying program is complete. Catch that on there.
Already.
Yep. They came in about 3 days. They were done.
What's the guaranteed success on that?
If I have less than 60% kill, we can call back and respray for free.
Right on the borderline whether that's enough growth yet or not. Yeah.
It's a total kill, so it's been pretty good. We were on it early last year. It was pretty satisfying. But if it doesn't grow, the guys don't give me a holler. Toll road detour agreements, we worked through that stuff, so I think we got that all corrected. Highway operation.
Thank you for that.
Should have been a little bit quicker. Highway operations, we started tens on Thursday. So we are now on 410s. We are still open office wise Monday through Friday. Grading gravel roads today. We caught up with all our storm cleanup, so that's all done. And striping is actually supposed to begin, if the weather allows it, this Thursday. Back to brushing, our brusher went down, so that's getting repaired. We'll start mowing this week too.
When did you say the summer hours started?
Thursday, we forgot to post it. We forgot to
Last
post it.
Thursday?
Yes.
Go to another road concern of $100 between right around 350 east. And
Yep. Yeah, that's on my work list.
I got it on the override. I just got it. I got a text last time.
Yeah, we got that whole stretch.
Will you be there the 15th?
Yes, sir.
Help me with it.
Okay.
I haven't received any objection yet. We're talking about the roundabout.
That's on the 15th.
Yeah,
What time is that?
I don't have that right with me, but
I'll get to it. Okay. Which jurisdiction is that?
it's in Mr. Musser's court, circuit court. So if there's no objection, then the court will order appointment of appraisers. When the appraisers come back, you can go forward. Because you have to pay in the amount of the appraisal, and then you can go forward. If they want to object to the amount, they can, but it doesn't stop the project to that. They've switched attorneys, but something that.
They switched attorneys or the attorney switched them? Was it mutual?
No comment.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think I need to sign it, Chip.
Yeah, send this to.
No, I think I need to sign it.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Okay. Under other business, payroll for May 2nd. The amount of $588,092.90. Quick motion with payroll.
Second.
Any further? Hearing none, all in favor signify with aye. Aye. It was an invoice from RQAW, which will be final balance to them. Or maybe not, you can advise us on this, would it be inappropriate for us to withhold payment of any invoice from them until we hear back from them regarding?
What was the invoice for?
Construction administration, additional services, T&E. Sure what that is.
You- I don't think it'd be inappropriate, given the fact you have an outstanding claim, it's going to be an offset. I have not been a party to your conversation, or have there not been anything?
We sent them out through, right? A request regarding the items and disclosed to you. We have not heard anything back from them, other than they would look into it.
Concern is the time frame. I think it's no reason they couldn't have got back with you by this point. Not at all. These things are on the table for a long period of time, in my view. I don't, maybe I'm reading it wrong. You've been more involved than I am, but I don't like the feel of it that that letter was sent out. some years ago. Response.
This is the last invoice from them too, so
This
if we pay this, that's it.
So it's up to you, but I see no problem with not approving the invoice.
Trying to find you a date, Quite been 30 days.
You send in the email, a response within 10 days.
They're looking into it, but there's no update.
So. Do we offer them another opportunity to respond, or do we just have on sending a letter?
the letter, asking them to respond. Right?
Guess if you don't pay them, no response there. Significant difference between the 9,000 of them and the claim.
That you're asking for return.
I suppose we could send them a, possibly move to table the paying of this invoice and send them a notification saying we're tabling the approval of payment of this invoice until such time that they respond to our request for a 10 from the April 10th items.
Has it been by email at this point, so mostly?
We emailed them and mailed them a copy.
Okay,
It didn't go certified, did it?
No.
So regular mail, not certified.
well, that's fine.
We did receive an acknowledgement back of the email though.
Been crickets since then. Well, I mean, if this was something new and unusual, but these things have been on the table for a year.
Your pleasure, gentlemen.
I would have no problem pulling the money back or not paying this invoice until we hear further from the letter that we have sent. I think this is regarding those change orders.
Follow up with that in the manner which I just suggested, or do you want to have Don saying, we sent them a letter, they acknowledged receipt of the letter, but yet they have not provided any information.
I think we can go with what you had recommended. And if that no response or no action the way
Respond rationally to that extent for us, so we can do that and copy Don on it also, please.
Yeah.
Is that fair enough? Copy
Yes.
Don on it to keep him in with us.
Sir, I'm worried about the timeline. If this is a negligence claim, the 2 years from the date. If it's a contractual claim, you have 6 years, but the negligence claim is, I think they were going to turn it over to their
Insurance.
errors and omissions. Usually you get some response by this time. It's been turned over.
once we notify them that this is not.
No, I think the 2 years comes from the date of your discovery.
Yeah.
Of the error.
Yeah, that's when we notify them of the error.
Of the date, when did you discover the error? It's been a year ago or more.
I don't know that it's been a full year, but
No, because we were just, no, it would not.
because they were moving, essentially moving in at that.
I would say
It's probably been less.
July would be better. About that discovery.
We got some time, but I get nervous about those things.
Yeah.
Community center rental agreements. Those individually, all in one if you want. There are several. I suppose if we just listed them with the Well Child Clinic being the first one. The University LTAP, the second one. East Indiana Works. Ex-council. Nope, I just went too far past. United Way. That gets it right there. I got them all.
I will look to improve.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by aye.
Aye.
We have a memoranda for the executive session and the administrative session. Any further? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by aye.
Aye.
Aye. The triennial allocation. Already approved that, haven't we?
Yeah, so they were questioning the amount that we were giving them because they said we paid the full 50,000, it was in 2025. They said any new money that we get is gonna go to the same fund, but they just want information that we fill out stating what we're giving them. But it's still going for this.
Yeah, the actual commitment, that wasn't to 50. Commitment was actually to 100, but that's fine. Yeah, I think so. Motion just to, or, yeah, to approve the Steuben County Endowment Fund.
Approve.
Okay, any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by aye.
Aye.
Lightning invoice, is this the final lightning?
That is what Grant said also. I had an email printed, but
$6,375.21.
To approve.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by aye.
Aye.
Can you give us a kind of a final tally on that, see what that looks like? Nothing really more than updating that spreadsheet there. Really good one because they're going. Okay, ordinance number 1045 and ordinance number 1046. These, we just first read about this, right?
yeah.
There's fees that are on this.
Yet to be determined. would be a separate ordinance. Require discussion.
1046 has the fees listed on it. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, it shows the major subdivision, house, so forth, minor subdivisions. Development plan reviews, et cetera.
And then your fees that we pay outside sources to review these.
correct, and they're chargeable by your previous ordinance to the developer. So,
Can have a motion for a second reading, or I could have a motion for second and third readings on these.
I'll look to approve the second and third reading. For both 1045 and 1046 ordinance.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify with aye.
Aye.
as far as publication, I don't know if Michelle does that or.
I'll have Abby get with Barry. If not, we'll do it.
Memorandum of execution of memorandum of understanding requested from Steuben County Early Childhood Coalition. Collaboration for a study between funding from the Steuben County Community Foundations, Steuben County Commissioners, and City of Angola, Trine University, Cameron Hospital, and some other various sources. We've already voted to commit to this.
Sorry.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
$5.25. Motion that we have reviewed the monthly financials and comparison reports. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by aye. Next item is what we have presented to us. I did get a phone call from him and asked him to get something in writing, possibly from the City of Angola regarding the antenna on top of the water tower that the city's getting ready to refurbish. And have something that would acknowledge that they received it, that they had agreed to take it down on our behalf at no cost.
Yep.
The only thing then we would be committing to putting a new one on the tower at Communications Center. And for what, if nobody's been part of that discussion, just for your information, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but it was going to cost upwards of about $45,000 for us to get a crane in here and have it removed.
Correct.
And then if we wanted to place it back on top of the tower, that same price tag again, as opposed to abandoning the one that's there and purchasing and having a new one installed at the communications center for about $20,000.
$20,000. About discussion.
So has this been sent to them already? Or are you wanting us to put our signatures on it?
I believe I'm waiting for your signatures and then I'll send it on behalf of you to the superintendent. He knows what's coming.
Okay. Motion, approve the letter. Second. Okay, all in favor, signify by aye.
Aye.
Thank you for looking into all that. That was cool. Painful, at the same time, it's gonna be a benefit.
We can do it,
And it'll be installed on county.
they do it improved, right?
Correct. It's the one that's there is out of date as per what ERS was saying, so.
Okay, motion for the claims. Any questions?
Move to approve. Claims.
You guys doing out of cycle also, or just the regular claims?
I'll just do the regular claim.
Second.
Any discussion, questions? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by aye.
Aye.
Items A through E, we'll do those all at once, or do them separately.
I will move to approve all those all at once, eight.
I will second.
Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by aye.
Aye.
Now we'll bring Aaron, just a second to catch up on some signatures.
Oh, Simon.
You can't jump all
Pretty fast,
directions.
turning back and forth.
Break when you're signing.
But that was a lot.
I am willing to do that as well. We got
Let's take 5 minutes.
Sounds great.
Give everyone opportunity. This. Go in and barber shop. Okay, Aaron?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Sorry, I did not make my appointment earlier.
No, that's fine. We were told we could move you along, so we took you to the end.
When I was convenient. So I'm in front of you today for 3 different job descriptions that had minor changes. These were discussed with the Personnel Advisory Committee on Friday. The first one is a new job description. It's the EMS administrator position, which will essentially take place of the EMS director. It has the same classification, so there's no increase in wage that would be requested or anything with county council. And that came to the commissioners with a favorable recommendation to approve the job description as written.
So first time it'd be the EMS administrative job description. Motion to approve.
Move to approve.
Second. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify with aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Okay, the other 2 for the highway department, minor changes on these. It does change the structure of the highway department a little bit. But again, no wage changes with regards to these job descriptions. The classifications are shown the same. And again, those have positive recommendation, favorable recommendation from the personnel committee to the commissioners for approval.
Morning.
I'll second.
Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by aye.
Aye.
One more item was regarding the executive session and personnel matter. Number 01118.
Motion. Make a motion to terminate employee number 01118. Second.
Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by aye.
Aye.
Aye, vote. Anything else that needs to come before us today?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you have the report.
Yeah, but I don't. One of them. Probably will need Kim Anderson in here. The other one is Brightmark. So, as all of you know, hopefully everybody knows, the abatement for Brightmark that was approved by the town of Ashley came in very, very, very late. And we had already certified all of our numbers, everything for the state. And there was not, per state statute, there was not enough time to recalculate and resend everything. Problem with leaving that abatement on there or doing the adjustment and putting it on was holding Noble County, DeKalb County, Steuben County, and LaGrange County because there were cross-county schools, there were cross-county solid waste district. So based on Indiana statute and the date that those abatements were to be turned in by and all the paperwork, I did not put the abatement on. I had spoken to a couple of you, I don't know, I might have spoken to all of you, I don't know. I also had a conversation with Don, and I had a conversation with the State Board of Accounts. And I got a favorable recommendation to not put it on, so I didn't. And now they are looking to try and get it put on there. So I just wanted to make everybody aware that it's not on there yet. I don't know how this is gonna come out, but it was a huge abatement. I don't know if I still have the numbers in here right now. But, and they have never filed their abatements on time. And the whole time they've been doing them. We had never penalized them. We could have, but she never did. The assessor never put on any penalties for them in the past years for not filing on time. So that's where we stand right now. I did not put it on. And they'll probably try and contest it. On top of that, they filed Chapter 11 bankruptcy restructuring. So they're dealing with that also. But I just wanted to make it public that all my recommendations were to not put it on. And so I didn't.
Well, and you'll probably get a complaint for declaratory judgment. I spoke to their attorney, and I think that's where they're going. Let the court decide whether they get it or not. I can see both sides. It's a significant factor to them, and but I think they're partially fully responsible for the fact that the county is in the position that it's in. So, I mean, everybody, the choices are everybody gets less tax money, or they get their tax abatement. Or, yeah. So, I mean, it's the auditor's in a catch-22. She's there. There's no easy answers to her. The abatement was approved by the assessor, I think.
Tom Ashley. But yes, the assessor was at that meeting.
Yeah.
But she's got statutory reporting requirements that she's got to meet, and when they can't meet their deadlines,
That's the other side.
that's our auditor's fault.
And we pretty much relied on the State Board of Accounts, basically said, you know, you're right to do this. So, I mean, it's.
He didn't, I think they did want something, I haven't done it yet, wanted something in writing from me showing where I had the authority to remove it. I just didn't put it on. So technically I didn't remove it, I just didn't put it on there.
Okay.
But I probably will have to refer to you quite a bit, John.
And I haven't done the in-depth research that's going to be required if the thing goes to court, but pretty much relied on the State Board of Accounts statement that, you know, Kelly had the right to do it. And eventually the judge will look at the decision. So, have they paid the tax?
They're always late. We never pay them on time. Whether it may be caught up right now. I'd have to go back and
So
look.
not due for like 5 or 6 days.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I just wondered if they.
they haven't paid yet this year. And all that money, that's what pays back that Ashley loan. That's where we're at with it.
Response to that.
I think one more thing, that's what I need Kitty Anderson for probably. So I really don't know for sure what this is. Received a phone call. I don't even know who my phone call was from. But they sent Steve Smith down here from REMC. And I believe what they're looking for is the fiber optics that they ran to be non-taxable.
That's been passed.
So I'm not sure what we have to do from there or who reports those numbers. maybe REMC. I mean, we're not gonna know how many miles. I'm hoping
So that number of the state.
REMC comes in from the state, but I didn't know about these.
Say that again,
So
about the non-tax.
part of our, gosh, what do we call that?
The broadband initiative.
Broadband initiative, broadband ready community was having an ordinance that allowed for their infrastructure to not have personal property tax on it, I believe is what it amounts to.
And
In order to encourage the development of the systems.
we did pass that on February 3rd.
So I assume they're applying to have that exempt status on that. And
I think it's gonna run through.
most of the,
Kim Anderson,
most
but-
utility personal property, you might have to talk to Kim about that, but I think most personal property tax for utilities comes through the state.
It does,
Okay.
because I used to do
So
this.
that's going to be who's probably more. I don't know, if we have to produce something before it goes to the state?
I don't know.
I'm
I
not
just
seeing
want to
one.
bring it up. This is the first time. So I have an annual report from them,
Some questions probably there.
a lot of questions.
So maybe follow up with Kim. Yeah. Isaac might be a good resource to help you with some of that.
But he's still kind of the lead on that, isn't
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I'm not, who does the state
Once a year,
treasurer or the auditor do the assessments for the utilities?
it doesn't come from
Or is
either of them.
IURC do it?
It doesn't come from either one of them. I can't think of what her name is right now, where we get that from. But the state does report to us, all of our state utilities.
Okay.
They give us the numbers we have. So maybe I need to contact her also.
Yeah, I would say that's probably, that might be your
I
best start.
can't think of her name off the top of my head, but I'll get it.
Okay.
So just making me aware of that I got that in.
Still a few items under outstanding business. We did find out that there was no truck that we could move to the surveyor that the sheriff could have and so forth, right?
Correct.
Okay. So that's probably, he had all those repairs. Did he have the repairs done too?
First word, yeah, so it's
So it's
operational,
operational right now.
just something
it?
maybe
And
needs
those
to.
were also ones that needed, that he hasn't done yet. There were some that he had done and others that
They needed.
identified, because the bill was just for we're actually going through and identifying all those repairs.
Budget something next year, something that
We could just do the needed repairs and not.
but we don't want it on city vehicle.
Yeah.
Okay. See if we can remember to talk about that. County park rental fees should be all done, right?
Well, he never came back around with you guys, so everything that you guys talked about in that one meeting, I'm assuming he just went ahead and that's what they charged for the year. He was supposed to get some more paperwork around and never came back with it, so that's why it's still on there and didn't want to take it off.
Okay, could you actually probably send him, because typically we try to set in like next year's rate, maybe the year after that's rate, prior to the end of their season, so that the campers know.
I feel like we did that like in June or July.
Yeah, so you might send him a note saying we can have those discussions coming up here. And the flags, I think you've got that all
Oh,
figured
so
out?
they worked on that, yeah,
All
so.
right. And the courthouse study, we've not done anything with that, guys.
That's a hard one.
The biggest part of that is we got to be able to commit funding for whatever we do. It'd be the hardest.
Whether it's us using it for county purposes, whether it's being reconstructed to this, to the ideas that the community came up with that they wanted to see. Yeah, the funding is going to be the big mechanism.
I think with the, with what's happened at the federal and state level, with some of the grants and stuff drying up, I think that
Gonna be a stretch.
it's gonna, or really throws kind of a, I don't want to the hole, but, kind of changes some things.
The option, which nobody's going to want to talk about, but you probably at least need to discuss, is it not being ours.
Yeah, I was just thinking that,
I mean, I don't want to be the one to say it, but
I didn't want to say it out loud.
I didn't
it
say,
has to be, that's an, again, it's an option. It doesn't mean that's the option you're going to use, but it's an option.
And also, looking at that green space and maybe moving forward with some of those thoughts that were in that study might be helpful to spur some of the conversation for the rest of it. Those were a lot more feasible, yeah, financially to do some of those.
I'm going to say all that, just keep it in the forefront a little bit. So we'll leave it there on that item.
Been asked many times.
think about that down the
We
right line.
probably need to move it in some direction. In addition to that, though, by the way, we discussed it last time. Beyond it, I know I didn't, on our budgeted items, we had, I thought, set aside funding for a long-term strategic plan for the 200 West Corridor. Did we put that in its own line item, or did we place it as part of another group of funds in the
I'm
appropriation?
gonna have to check because I don't remember.
I'd like to do that, because if not, it might be, if we get done, then I'd kind of like to see us ask council for some funding along that lines.
Yeah.
So we can get that, then he's getting on that too. Sure.
I will get that answer back to you.
Thank you. Okay, anything else? Or recess?
We do have a drainage board meeting.
Yes. Sorry, that's you.